Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wayne Andersen, and I want to welcome you to our Facebook site here. And we're going to be starting in just a moment with our first of Your LifeBook workshop. Very excited tonight. First of all, welcome into my home. We're going to be talking basically as partners in this journey towards better health and well-being. And tonight is the first of a series of 8 weeks. And we're going to be opening up the LifeBook, which hopefully you have. And if you don't, we'll just make sure you get one. But basically, this is an interactive journal that we're going to be using as part of the Habits Health Transformational System. And over the next 8 weeks, we're going to work together to really focus on the first 8 elements. Before I get started on that, I want to spend a moment and just talk about the Habits Health Transformational System. You know, I've been a physician for many years, and over the last 20 years, I focused moving from critical care to really moving upstream and helping people create health. And one of the things I know over time is that it's really difficult to change our habits. Our lifestyle becomes kind of fixed. In the crazy world we're in today, it seems like you never have enough time to really change those habits. And we try something for a little while. We certainly have New Year's resolutions and we try to get healthy, but it just never seems to work out. And so few people really make meaningful changes in their health and their life. And I think we know with the world changing rapidly right now, there's only one person really that is fully responsible for our health and our well-being, and it starts with us. So the Habits Health Transformational System is an evolution that's occurred. You know, I've been working with people, with clients and patients, and with coaches and leaders for now almost 2 decades. And in that time, we've found that it's really important to awaken people, to put them in position to be able to change their health and their life. So the transformational system really has evolved. I published the first book, which is here, in 2008. This was called Dr. A's Habits of Health. And as a physician, I wrote this to basically give people more knowledge on the importance that they can change their health and well-being. And it's really understanding our design versus what we're actually doing in the modern world, which is very different than it was 10,000 years ago. And I did that, and I had a a companion guide that went with it, where I used traditional training and education, the way I was trained in medicine, to fill in the blanks and really learn the system. But what I found out over time is that knowledge is great, but it's really the doing that allows us to become. And so as we go through these next 8 elements over the next 2 months together, and hopefully you'll join us and also share this with all your friends and family, because I think pretty much everybody really needs to have a little bit of guidance to kind of negotiate and navigate through the unsettled times, certainly that we're in right now, that are having an impact on our health and our well-being. So it kind of evolved into this transformational system. So now, rather than your coach or you reading and trying to do it fully by yourself, the system allows you to take responsibility, to 24/7 have what you need, but have the guidance of a coach or a mentor. You can do it on your own, but it's easier when you're part of a community of like-minded people. So we'll talk more about that later. But there's 3 pieces to the Habits Health Transformational System. There's the book, which is here, which is basically the evolution of what I just showed you. And this is the reference. It's been updated and it's refereed, so it's all based on science, journal-based. All the research is in the book, so this is accurate science. It's not based on opinions. It's not based on one person. They're all refereed from refereed journals where a group of healthcare providers, professionals, PhDs have come together, and all the research in here is based on sound, clinically proven, and many of it from double-blind randomized prospective studies. So I wanted to make sure, so this is really pretty close as we can get to reality. Obviously, there's always going to be some, controversies in some of this, but it's pretty close. The Life Book is its matching piece, which is going to be your interactive journal. And as hopefully, if you've started this and you've already working in it, you'll first understand basically where you are now, and you'll write down your current story, and then you're going to progress over the next 12 months. So you think, wow, 12 months, that's a long time. But we're going to do it in baby steps, and that's just an average of what it takes. Some people will go a lot faster. Some people will go slower, and each individual element will help guide you to lay the foundation to truly work on sustainable change. Because anybody can diet for a short period of time, but to actually create long-term health, well-being, reaching a healthy weight requires fundamental change in our habits and change in our lifestyle. And we know that. I have 1,000 referee journal articles talking about the only thing that really matters is lifestyle. So that's what we're going to be doing now. This is no substitute for you going through the life book. It's your journey, and you'll write individually. And each one of us is a little different from where we've come from and where we're going and what's most important to us. So tonight we're going to start off with the first element. And the first element in in element 1 is called being clear of why you're here, what your why is. And many people have heard it. Several people, Simon Sinek and many others, have talked about, you need to know what your why is, what your purpose is, why you're here. Now that purpose may start because you need to lose some weight because you were told by your doctor you were unhealthy. It could be that your spouse has been nagging you so much you finally decided to do something about it. It could be that you're having some kind of medical condition going on, or you might be doing it for a wedding, or it's kind of a little late in the season now, but for swimsuit season, right? It doesn't really matter what initially motivates you to raise your hand, but the great news is you're here tonight. And if you're just seeing this for the first time, congratulations on coming here. Congratulations on making a decision. Well, you may not have made the decision yet, but at least you're listening to the information, and hopefully you'll make a decision that you want to change your stars and start creating better health and well-being. Hopefully, for all of us, that's something we all aspire to do. And I always like to start off by asking the question, if you could choose optimal health, would you make that choice? And the answer for pretty much all of us is yes. I'm not asking you if you think you can do it. I'm asking you if you could have that choice, would that be important to you? And it really is a fundamental choice. It's a choice because when we can have more vibrant energy, we can move more and be with our kids or our grandkids. We can travel and do the things we want. We feel good. We're not on medications. We're not having to go to the hospital, obviously, is an extreme, or even go to the ER or to see your family doctor other than for a checkup. That's a great thing, and we want to live long, healthy lives. And hopefully, over time, if we do the right things, it'll allow us to be able to live longer in a healthier state. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees on that. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, and certainly, we have no control over that part. So I'm going to talk tonight about your why, and I want to start off because basically identifying why you're here. Why are you here right now, and how can we work together? And one of the cool things about this, I'm going to kind of go along in the element with you guys, as basically, it's about taking the power back. If we're blaming, and certainly we're in the most unsettled time, at least that I think many of us have been, with all the things going on with the pandemic and all the other things that are going on in our country and in the world. This is a very unsettled time, and we have a tendency to look out and blame everybody else for what's going on. And the reality is this: if you put the blame outside of you, if you blame it on everything else, you fully give away the power to basically take control and be in charge of your own life. So what we're first about is we wanted, whatever reason you're here, we want to start working on you starting to realize there's a different type of motivation that's different than the conflict that's going on right now. It's the motivation of deciding, I want to get healthy. I want to change my stars. I want to start working in the direction I want. And over time, we can help you do everything. And we break it down. You'll want to read in the beginning, in the forward of the book, I talk about the mason jar. Basically, it's an old story. I chose it because no one knows who actually wrote it. But in the mason jar, we talk about, putting the big rocks in the jar, in the mason jar. And then the teacher asks the class, is it full? And they all look and see it's full of these major rocks. And they say no. And then he takes out pebbles and he pours in pebbles and shakes them up. Then he asks the same question again, and then he puts in sand, and then he puts in water. And each time, everyone's thinking it's full, but it really isn't full. But the message there, his message and his basically analogy was that if you don't put the big rocks in, do all the little things, and you don't focus on the things that are most important, you really are never going to be able to get the big things in. So I've kind of taken that visual, and that's how the Habits Health is set up. You basically have the book, the companion guide, and you have this app. And this app is designed to literally be your daily accountability tool. And so, we'll talk more about this as we go along. But together, the three of them, the daily accountability, the interactive journal, which has great guidance, and by the way, is set up on elements, as I mentioned. And elements really are the fundamental. In fact, it's defined right here at the beginning of the chapter. It's a fundamental, essential piece of the whole. So just like the whole mason jar, represents our health and our well-being. The individual components are designed around the 6 macro habits, which are the 6 key areas. And we'll start talking, we're going to focus on weight management, healthy eating, and motion during this time together over the next 2 months, because those are really essential, and most people know about them. They might necessarily know how to optimize those, but we'll start there. So, but at the beginning, the why, being intrinsically motivated, knowing you want to do this. Number 2, starting to get better at it. And 3rd is sharing it with others. See, that's the key, because that's what we call intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation is the fuel, the power that's going to take you over the next year as you go through this in baby steps and make the differences necessary to be healthy. So that's really important. And there's a couple questions that are here in the beginning that are just really, really important to kind of start focusing on, really, why are you here? And the first is, do you really care about getting healthy? And the answer, as we talked about, is pretty much yes for all of us. And do you want to improve your life? I think we'd say yes as well to that. So basically, that means you value your health and your life and your well-being. And so are you willing to start doing the work? And the neat thing about this, you'll go through the life book at your own pace. So if you're struggling in an area or something, life gets in the way, you can take, more time in that. And also, if you have a coach, which hopefully if you do, you're going to be working, I'm sitting here to kind of just give you, as the author of the system, kind of some insight into that. But man, your coach, if you have a coach, hopefully you do, that coach will be there to basically ask you the questions at the end of each element, the questions that you've answered for yourself, and help you decide on whether you're ready to progress to the next one. So we're going to go through it week after week, element by element, but this is really just setting you up to really kind of getting that muscle going, being in position where you can start understanding and build the habit. And part of it is building the habit of journaling. I can tell you that, I heard about journaling for years and writing everything out. And we know that from science and learning, basically the knowledge of learning, that when we write things down, it wires us different. It actually starts evolving the neuroplasticity. And we start really thinking that way because we're writing, we're taking ownership. But I want you to think of it as an interactive journal, because a lot of it is guided by the system, and it starts off in the beginning with mostly fill in the blank and little checks. Then as you move forward, you'll get better and more profound at it. So we want to build in the habit of interactive journaling as well, because this is foundational. I mean, I go back to this, you can see I've got all kinds of notes and little things in it. And it's something I go back and reflect on. And when something's struggling in my life, or when I have a coach or a client or a patient that's struggling, I'll have them go back to the element where they're kind of stuck, right? And we can kind of go through that again. And we don't learn in a straight line. So you're not going to go from completely unhealthy to completely healthy right in a straight line. You'll have struggles, you'll have challenges, but we're here to do this together, and understanding that really adapting a growth mindset. And what I mean by that is you're open, curious, and you want to learn. You want to get better. And let's just say you're doing well and you've lost some weight and you feel better. And let's say you have a special event comes up and you haven't really learned what you're going to learn, by the way, in these first 8 elements. You haven't learned how to modify and how to adopt your environment and your surroundings and your relationships. But we're going to start there, because those things are all the triggers that can knock you sideways. But at the very beginning, the why is where it all starts. Because if you know why you're here now, and what's neat about it is basically, why are you ready? So there's just some examples here. You can check which one works for you. I'm not going to read through them. That's your work to do. But in that, basically, it'll kind of say, why am I ready? Why all of a sudden now am I ready? And these are some ideas why you might be getting ready. And then over time, boom, it just starts hitting and you have this fuel. Also in the app, and I have in the beginning of the app, there's an opportunity for you right when you start and you answer the first couple of questions. There's just takes you about a minute to do it. You write down what your why is. And so hopefully from this exercise, you'll write it in every day. And my why is to be here to live a long, healthy time with my girls. I want to be there for them. And that's really important to me. And so I ask myself every day, sometimes I just don't feel like going down to the gym, or I don't feel like it. And then I look at that and I say, you know what? That's why I'm doing this. And I'm getting emotional because that's how I feel about it. This is an opportunity at a time when so many people are struggling, for us to start taking control, taking back that power, that locus of control, so we can change our own lives. So with this, I include a story of an amazing woman who lost over 215 pounds. And she talks about in the beginning she had no idea she could be successful, and she was a nurse. And I think it's great because you can read that story and kind of get a feel for it. And then basically what I put up is kind of your postcard, right? So you kind of fill out a postcard of, what my why is and why I'm doing. This is an example. And that postcard, or excuse me, not postcard, note card, like a 3x5 note card. You can take that, put it on your mirror. I have more than a couple. I put one up on your mirror. You can put one at your desk. And you can, again, put the overview in your app. So you want to be thinking of that. You want to create and connect that future reality with basically what's going on with you now. Because, the bottom line is if we can lead from the future, knowing where we want to go and why it's important, then it can inform us to make better choices. And then one of the other things you're going to learn about soon is in the app is about stop, challenge, and choose. And so this is stuff that allows you to start using what we like to call, and what we're kind of pioneering, human transformational technology. Technology, machine-based technology, has kind of taken over the world, and there's a new movie out called The Social Dilemma that talks how if we're sleepwalking through life, if we're not focusing and becoming self-aware, we are more likely to basically be controlled by somebody that's building artificial intelligence machines and start thinking and doing and feeling what they want us to think versus what we want. So why you want to start with your why is you want to really get clear so that when you're making these choices, it's not based on just today or tomorrow. It's based on what you want for your future. So like I said, for me, it's my kids. So anyway, so at the end, basically, understand that the system will help you. We're going to be doing this. I'm not much about carrots and sticks, but I am very much about acknowledgement for people that have gone from the intention, because we all have great intentions, but are now starting to do the work. And so it really is knowing, which I did in the first book, but now doing, which is what the transformational system is about, so we can become. And what we can become is we can become healthier and have better well-being. So again, this is Dr. Wayne Andersen. I want to thank you for joining me. I'll see you again next week. God bless. See you guys. Bye.